Have you ever pondered over the silent battles our minds fight every day in the 21st century? This is not a light question, but it's one that's increasingly important to ask. We live in a time of unprecedented technological advancements, a time of instant communication and rapid progress. But with all these advances, there's an unseen battle that we must confront, the battle of our mental health. Mental health is as significant as physical health, yet it often goes unnoticed and unattended. It's the unseen force that guides our feelings, thoughts, and actions. It's the silent conductor orchestrating the symphony of our daily lives. But what happens when this conductor starts playing out of tune? What happens when our mental health is compromised? In the 21st century, we've seen a rising prevalence of mental illnesses. These are not just numbers or statistics, they are real people, real lives grappling with unseen battles. They are our friends, our family, our colleagues, and perhaps even ourselves. These invisible battles can take many forms: anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, schizophrenia, obsessive-compulsive disorder, eating disorders, personality disorders, and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, to name a few. Each of these mental illnesses carries its unique set of challenges, complexities, and struggles. They are not just conditions, they are life-altering experiences that can profoundly impact an individual's life. But despite their prevalence and impact, they often remain in the shadows, hidden behind the veil of stigma, misunderstanding, and fear. It's time to change that. It's time to bring these unseen battles into the light. It's time to understand, empathize, and support those who are fighting these battles every day. It's time to delve deeper into the world of mental health, to unravel the complexities of these mental illnesses, to understand their impact, and to explore the path to recovery. Let's embark on this journey of understanding and compassion. Let's step into the shoes of those fighting these invisible battles and see the world through their eyes. Let's challenge the stigma and bring about change. Now it's time to shed light on these unseen battles. First on our list is the widespread and often overlooked anxiety disorders. These are not simply a case of nerves. They are complex conditions, often rooted in a combination of factors including genetics, brain chemistry, personality, and life events. Picture an invisible, relentless foe constantly looming, causing feelings of unease, worry, and fear. That's what it's like living with an anxiety disorder. The symptoms are as varied as they are debilitating. They can include restlessness, feelings of impending doom, increased heart rate, rapid breathing, trouble concentrating, and sleep disturbances. And it's not just a concern for a few. Anxiety disorders are the most common mental illness in many countries, affecting millions of people. But what causes these disorders? Well, it's a bit of a chicken and egg situation. Sometimes a traumatic event may trigger them. Other times they may be due to physical health issues or a family history of anxiety. Even personality traits like shyness or behavioral inhibition in childhood can play a part. The complexity of these disorders is what makes them so difficult to understand, and thus often leads to them being overlooked or downplayed. But make no mistake, these are serious conditions that can have a profound impact on the quality of life of those affected. Anxiety disorders, although common, are no less serious, and acknowledging them is the first step towards recovery. Next up is a malady that casts a long, dark shadow: depression. Depression, a term we've all heard, yet it remains shrouded in misconceptions. This isn't just about having a bad day or feeling a bit down. Depression is a profound sense of despair that seeps into every corner of your life, casting a pall over your thoughts, feelings, and actions. Let's delve into the symptoms. Persistent sadness, loss of interest in activities once enjoyed, changes in appetite and sleep, fatigue, feelings of worthlessness, difficulty focusing, and even thoughts of death or suicide. These symptoms aren't fleeting. They persist for weeks, months, even years, often without a clear cause. So, what triggers depression? It's not a one-size-fits-all answer. It could be a complex interplay of genetic, biological, environmental, and psychological factors. It could stem from a personal crisis, a significant loss, or chronic illness. It could be hormonal changes or certain medications. Depression is not a sign of weakness or a character flaw. It's a widespread issue affecting millions globally. In fact, the World Health Organization estimates that more than 300 million people worldwide wrestle with depression, making it one of the most common mental disorders. Let's discard the stigma. Let's promote understanding and empathy, because depression is more than just feeling sad. It's a serious condition that needs attention and care. Now we turn our attention to the roller coaster ride of emotions that is bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder, once known as manic depression, is a mental health condition characterized by extreme mood swings. These swings can range from euphoric highs, known as manic episodes, to profound lows or depressive episodes. In between these peaks and valleys, there may be periods of normal mood. The causes of bipolar disorder are not completely understood. It's believed to result from a complex interplay of genetics, environment, and altered brain structure and chemistry. A person with a family history of the disorder has a higher likelihood of developing it. Bipolar disorder is more common than many realize. It affects approximately 1 in every 50 people worldwide. It does not discriminate, striking people of all ages, races, social classes, and nationalities. The symptoms can be severe and different from the normal ups and downs that everyone goes through. Manic episodes may include feelings of elation, irritability, a reduced need for sleep, and increased energy. Depressive episodes might involve feelings of hopelessness, lethargy, and a loss of interest in activities once enjoyed. Bipolar disorder is a lifelong condition, but it can be managed with a combination of medication and psychotherapy. It's important for those affected to remember that they are not alone, and there is help available. Bipolar disorder is not just mood swings, it's a complex condition that requires understanding and support. Trauma leaves a mark, and for some, it manifests as post-traumatic stress disorder. This is a condition that is often misunderstood and underestimated, yet it weighs heavy on the shoulders of those suffering from it. Post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, is a mental health condition triggered by witnessing or experiencing a terrifying event. It's not just war veterans who are susceptible. Anyone exposed to a traumatic occurrence can develop PTSD, from survivors of physical and sexual assault to those who have been through a natural disaster or a severe accident. Symptoms of PTSD include flashbacks, nightmares, severe anxiety, and uncontrollable thoughts about the traumatic event. These symptoms can be so intense, they interfere with the individual's daily life, making it hard to continue with routine activities. The causes of PTSD are complex and varied. They range from experiencing intense or long-lasting trauma, having experienced other trauma earlier in life, including childhood abuse or neglect, or having a job that increases your risk of being exposed to traumatic events. It's important to note that PTSD is more prevalent than many realize. It's estimated that 7 to 8% of people will experience PTSD at some point in their lives. That's nearly 1 in every 13 people around the world. Remember, PTSD is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of having tried to stay strong for too long. It's a silent battle, but with understanding, compassion, and appropriate treatment, it's one that can be won. Next, let's unravel the often misunderstood condition known as schizophrenia. A mental disorder that often surfaces in late adolescence or early adulthood. Schizophrenia is characterized by disruptions in thought processes, perceptions, emotional responsiveness, and a sense of self. Much like a shrouded mystery, the exact cause of schizophrenia remains unknown. However, it's believed to be a combination of genetic, physical, and environmental factors. Research shows that imbalances in chemical reactions involving neurotransmitters, dopamine, and glutamate may play a role in schizophrenia. Symptoms of schizophrenia are often classified as positive, negative, and cognitive. Positive symptoms include hallucinations and delusions. Negative symptoms involve a lack of motivation and social withdrawal, while cognitive symptoms are related to memory and decision-making abilities. The prevalence of schizophrenia is roughly 1% of the world's population, which may seem small, but translates to millions of individuals grappling with this condition. It's vital to remember that schizophrenia doesn't discriminate, affecting people of all genders, races, and ethnic groups. Treatment for schizophrenia primarily includes medication and psychotherapy. Early intervention can significantly improve the long-term outcome. But unfortunately, due to the stigma surrounding mental health, many cases are often diagnosed late. Schizophrenia is not a split personality. It's a condition that affects how a person thinks, feels, and behaves. It's high time for us to shed light on this shrouded mystery and continue advocating for mental health awareness and support. Now, we delve into the hidden depths of obsessive-compulsive disorder. Obsessive-compulsive disorder, often referred to as OCD, is a mental health condition shrouded in many misconceptions. A common misbelief is that OCD is merely a preference for orderliness and cleanliness. However, it's far more complex and distressing. At its core, OCD is characterized by two main components: obsessions and compulsions. Obsessions are intrusive, unwanted thoughts or fears that cause significant distress. These aren't simply everyday worries, but irrational fears that can consume a person's thinking. Compulsions, on the other hand, are repetitive behaviors or mental acts that individuals feel driven to perform in response to their obsessions. This could be anything from excessive hand-washing to endlessly checking door locks. These actions are performed with the hope of preventing or reducing distress, but often only provide temporary relief. The exact cause of OCD remains unknown, but it's believed that a combination of genetic, neurological, behavioral, cognitive, and environmental factors may play a role. It's crucial to understand that OCD is not a result of personal weakness or a character flaw. When we look at prevalence, OCD affects about 1 in 40 adults and 1 in 100 children worldwide, making it a relatively common mental health disorder. OCD is not about neatness, it's about unwanted and intrusive thoughts that drive people to do something over and over again. Moving on, let's discuss the silent suffering caused by eating disorders. These disorders are insidious illnesses that often fly under the radar due to their covert nature. They wreak havoc on an individual's relationship with food, leading to unhealthy obsessions about weight, body shape, and diet. There are several types of eating disorders, including anorexia nervosa, bulimia nervosa, and binge eating disorder. Each disorder has its unique symptoms, but they all share a common thread: an intense fear of gaining weight and a distorted body image. This fear can result in self-starvation, excessive exercise, binging, or purging, and can severely impact physical health and daily functioning. But what causes these disorders? Well, it's a complex interplay of genetic, psychological, and environmental factors. Some people may have a genetic predisposition, while others may be influenced by societal pressures or personal stressors. Whatever the cause, it's clear that eating disorders are not merely about food. Eating disorders are alarmingly prevalent. It's estimated that they affect millions of people worldwide across all ages, genders, and ethnicities. Unfortunately, due to the stigma and misconceptions surrounding these disorders, many cases go undiagnosed and untreated. The consequences can be devastating. Eating disorders have the highest mortality rate among psychiatric disorders, often due to severe malnutrition or suicide. It's a grim reality that underscores the urgency of awareness, early detection, and treatment. Eating disorders are not a lifestyle choice. They are serious and often fatal illnesses that cause severe disturbances to a person's eating behaviors. Now we tackle the intricacies of personality disorders. Personality disorders, often misunderstood, can be complex to explain. They generally involve long-term patterns of thoughts and behaviors that are unhealthy and inflexible. These patterns usually develop in adolescence or early adulthood and are distinct from the person's culture, leading to distress and impairment. There are several types of personality disorders, each with its unique set of symptoms. Some people may come across as obsessive or compulsive, others might be seen as avoiding social interactions, while some might display dramatic, erratic, or emotional behavior. It's essential to remember that these are not mere personality quirks, but serious conditions that can cause significant distress in daily life. The causes of personality disorders are not entirely understood, although a combination of genetic and environmental factors are often at play. For instance, a person may inherit certain personality traits, but traumatic life events might trigger the onset of a disorder. In terms of prevalence, it's estimated that about 1 in 10 adults in the global population may have a personality disorder. However, this figure could be higher due to underreporting or misdiagnosis. Personality disorders are not just about being difficult or eccentric. They involve long-term patterns of behavior that cause significant problems and distress. It's important to remember that these disorders are real, valid, and deserving of understanding and compassion. Finally, we look at the unseen impact of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Often abbreviated as ADHD, this condition is far from the stereotypes of hyperactive children we often picture. It's a complex disorder with a wide range of symptoms and effects that can significantly impact a person's life, often in ways that go unnoticed by the casual observer. ADHD symptoms vary greatly, but they typically involve difficulty focusing, impulsivity, and hyperactivity. Imagine having a whirlwind of thoughts constantly spinning in your mind, making it nearly impossible to concentrate on a single task. or being so restless that sitting still feels like an uphill battle. That's the reality for many with ADHD. The causes of ADHD are still not fully understood. It's thought to involve a combination of genetic, environmental, and neurological factors. Some studies suggest that certain brain structures may be smaller in individuals with ADHD, pointing to a potential neurodevelopmental origin. ADHD is more common than you might think. It's estimated that around 5% of children and 2.5% of adults worldwide have ADHD. That's millions of people grappling with these challenges every day. ADHD is not a character flaw or a sign of laziness. It's a neurodevelopmental disorder that requires understanding, patience, and appropriate treatment. ADHD is not about being lazy or undisciplined. It's a neurodevelopmental disorder that affects both children and adults. Understanding these mental illnesses is the first step on the road to recovery. Unveiling the invisible battle inside our minds is the key to unlocking the door to healing. It's crucial to remember that seeking help is not a sign of weakness. In fact, it's a testament to your strength and resilience. There are countless resources available for those struggling with mental health issues. These include therapists and counselors who can provide valuable guidance and support, as well as medication and holistic treatments that can help to manage symptoms. Support groups, both online and in person, can provide a comforting space to share experiences and find solace in the stories of others on similar journeys. The road to recovery may not always be smooth. It's a journey filled with ups and downs, twists and turns. But remember, every step you take is a step forward. Remember, it's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to start the journey towards better mental health. You are not alone.